Hello, it's Grammy, Antonia. I'm sitting out here on my picnic table, and it's about 6 o'clock in the evening. It's nice out here. The temperature is nice out here this evening. Haven't done anything today. I've just rested in the house. Yesterday, my husband and I were going to move the car. Well, actually, he was going to move the car from the back of the house. I'd been out here in the yard watering some of my plants. He said, I'll go out there and move the car because we'd got that coil for the air compressor, so I would be able to work on setting up that little pool, a little wading pool that I got. Oh, and I did get my glasses tightened. There's a story there. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. So anyway, he goes out to move the car so that I'd have that space there to do my pool. And I was out here in the front yard. In a few minutes, he comes back out here where I am, and he says, well, the car won't turn over. I said, what do you mean? He said, it won't start. And it wouldn't even click when you turn the key. It was dead. So I went out there too, and I was checking the doors and the lights, overhead lights, whatever, to see, had we left something on? What happened? He said he didn't see anything. Maybe the battery just needed to be jumped off or something, or possibly we needed a new battery and it was dead. So anyway, to make a long story short, one of his nephews came over later that evening and checked it out and jumped it off for us, and it was the battery. Battery was completely dead, so we needed a new battery. But it wouldn't stay cranked when you turn the key, because I guess that's how dead the battery was. So today we needed to get somewhere to get a battery, and get it put in the car. But being that the car wasn't working, and the old truck we have it's not reliable, you can't take it anywhere. So we had to try to depend on somebody, to come. Well, the nephew that came up here to help us and jumped it off, he had to work today. So, the only other person we knew to call would be his other nephew. And, of course, he had plans for Saturday, they had plans for things to do. But anyway, a nearby town, my husband had called around to check, on prices of batteries and sizes and what their hours were for business. And so in one of the neighboring towns, Bryson City, he was going to go over there. He could get a battery, and they were open till 9 o'clock. So the other nephew, when he got finished with the things he was doing today, which it was about 5:30 before he got here, and they're gone now. He took my husband over to Bryson, and they're going to be open till 9, so he'll be able to get a battery and put that in the car. But, I didn't get to set my little wading pool up. No biggie. I'd done kind of, just let that go and said to myself, if I get it up, fine. If I don't, that's fine too. I wasn't going to let it upset me. But if he does come home with a battery and we get a battery in the car, then maybe tomorrow I'll be able to set up that little pool and I'll show y'all. Be something I can film. There's not anything else going on around here. Oh, I did tell you I had a little story to tell you when I went to the eye center, vision center at Walmart to get my glasses tightened. I went in there and this young man came out and waited on me and checked my glasses and how they fit and all that. So he took them with him and went in the back to tighten them up. And there was another woman there working, and she was up at the counter with another customer, and they were just chatting. So my husband and I were just standing out there, waiting for the younger dude to come back with my glasses. And so the woman that the other sales lady was talking to, she was leaving, and they were kind of chatting as she was going out the door. And so then she left, and the sales lady started to the back where the dude was that was working on my glasses, and she said something looking towards us. I didn't understand what she said, and then she went, maybe I shouldn't say anything, and she went on back in the back. And I looked at the old man, he looked at me. We didn't know what was going on. I just assumed it might have had something to do with the conversation her and the other lady was having when we first walked in. So in a few minutes, the young dude came back out. My glasses still weren't exactly tight enough, so he, took them back again to the back. And so the other sales lady came out there in the front, and she said, she mentioned dementia, and she mentioned Parkinson's disease, I believe is what she mentioned. Anyway, she just mentioned them, and then she made the comment that she felt like, our president had signs of that, and she didn't think he'd be able. I mean, she had people in her family, and she just didn't think he'd be able to be the president anymore. And I mean, she was standing right there at me saying that. I just looked at her and I said, and you think Trump is able to be the president and run this country? Oh, when I said that, she took a step back. I guess she was used to people just agreeing with her, I guess. But I sort of challenged her on that. And then she made a few comments. I made a few comments. And then she started, I guess she realized she was in her place of business, and she started kind of backstepping on what she was saying and trying to be really nice. And of course, I was too. I mean, I wasn't trying to be ugly to her. I was just, if she was just going to walk up to me, open the door, and state her opinion, I felt like I could state mine. But anyway, she seemed very uncomfortable. I made her uncomfortable. Well, I hate to make people uncomfortable, but for quite a few years now, during the Trump years and COVID and everything, I was very uncomfortable many times when people weren't wearing their masks and acting a fool during COVID. I was very uncomfortable. And I was trying really hard to, like I've told you before, my husband has emphysema and COPD, and we knew he was highly susceptible. And I am a smoker, and I would be susceptible too, and we're senior citizens. But anyway, I don't speak out a lot. I'm not out a lot anyway. But I do when somebody says something. And she opened the door and came right to me, and I hadn't even been talking to her. So it was, I could tell she was very uncomfortable. And anyway, as we were leaving, the young dude brought my glasses back out. He was so nice, and they they seemed to be doing better, and we got ready to walk on out. And she says, um, I believe she told us goodbye, and she said, hope y'all have a nice evening. And of course, I turned around to her and I told her, I said, I hope you have a nice evening too. And we went on, and my husband, I told him, I said, I don't know, I don't know what I said that made her seem so uncomfortable. And I said, I was telling him, I just think she's so used to everybody agreeing with her around here. They all seem to want to think the same way about it, and I just don't think the same way. So I just voiced my opinion. And he made the comment, well, she really shouldn't have done that in her place of business. That's where she was working. And I said, well, maybe so. I guess maybe she was afraid I might call and complain about it, which I wouldn't do. Didn't have anything to do with her actual work at the Vision Center. She wasn't waiting on me, so I wouldn't do that. Try to cause somebody some problems on their job. But I had to mull that around in my head for a long time, because I know that a lot of people are thinking that way, and there's a lot of us that know that corporate media, which most of us have watched for a long time on TV, and I'm sort of turning that off now, because I don't like how they're going on and on about Joe Biden, should step down, and about us Democrats, half of them maybe wanting him to, and he keeps on saying he's not getting out of the race, and acting like maybe he hadn't even made a real decision yet, when he's told everybody, I don't know how many times now, that he is in this race. He's not going anywhere. His doctors have checked him. The only thing wrong with Joe Biden is he's 82 years old. Now, I've said before, there's a problem nowadays with respect that our senior citizens get. It's just not there like I remember through my younger years, and being respectful of older people, especially amongst neighbors and families, especially. But it just seems different to me nowadays, and it's a shame. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm riding with Biden. When I watched that press conference he had the other day, and he had just finished his summit, NATO summit, and I don't know even how to explain to everybody how I feel about it. He's so knowledgeable in what he's doing. And I don't know if my listeners know what NATO is. I'd say a lot of you do, but there might be some that don't. It's called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And it was formed back after World War II. And that's when Hitler was trying to take over the world. And countries came together to fight fascism and dictatorship. And and to stop all the carnage that Hitler was causing. And they formed NATO afterwards so that these countries could be together fighting dictators like that. Now, Biden is very knowledgeable about all that, and these foreign leaders have great respect for him and for the United States. And our ex-president told on his rally stage just the other day, he said that he didn't even know when he became president what NATO was. But he learned in like 2 minutes. And that when he talked to Putin, Putin let him know what NATO was all about. Our ex-president has said that he will stop all funding to Ukraine if he gets elected, which means Putin will be able to take over Ukraine. And as our president now, Joe Biden, has said, if anybody hears it or if the corporate media talks about it, that he'll not let that happen. He stays as our president. He is strengthening our ties in NATO with all the other countries to fight dictators like Putin and Kim Jong-un or whoever. The countries that believe in democracy. Anyway, that's just one thing. And like I say, I'm not watching the press as near as much as I did the corporate media on TV. I might tune in once in a day or something just to see, like I did this morning, and quickly turned it back off because they're still blabbing on and on and on about whether Joe Biden's going to step down. And I just want to say that Joe's not going anywhere. He has told everybody, and he'll keep telling them. He's in this race. He's running for his second term as president. And I, for one, Grammy, in a couple of months, I'll be 72. I, for one, out here in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, I'm riding with Joe, no matter what. Because even if something does happen to him, medically, we have our vice president. And she's very capable. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Joe is ready for this. He knows how to do it. And all us people, regular, everyday people, I believe that the corporate media, they don't know us. They don't know who we are. We will stand by Joe Biden because we know who he is, we've seen what he can do, and how good he's worked for all of us, and has for a long time. And we've seen Donald Trump, we've heard Donald Trump, and we know who he is, and we know what kind of chaos he caused in this country. And he tells us And the people that are following him tell us who he is, what they believe in, and what they plan to do to take freedoms away from people. So that's basically my video for today. And I want to say, if you're looking for a news outlet other than corporate media, on YouTube, there's the Minus Touch, and another person that's independent news media. And then I listen also to a man called Texas Powell in Texas, very informative. And then there's Tennessee Brando, and he's, the way I look at it, he's just over the hill here from where I live, over there in Tennessee. And he tells it straight up how it is. So that's just some suggestions from Grammy. Everybody have a good evening, and maybe tomorrow I can do a little film on my wading pool if we get the battery put in our car. So I love y'all, and be talking to you tomorrow. Bye.